I gave the funny speech when I graduated. I became my dad. My father came from the Philippines in 1928 to America, an American national, a colonized Filipino. I thought it was time he graduated too. So I sounded like this when I began my speech. Hello, it's good to be here at Harvard. 4 years or 3 for me, I was outstanding. No, not sure. Oh, because I'm so thankful because now I sound like this. Harvard man, America's corporate superhero, came in third world, left 2.5. I got a few more laughs than that. The other Lampoo guys during the year, they all went into show business, and I thought about showbiz, but I knew deep in my heart, the invisible don't go into showbiz. You see, when I graduated, I didn't graduate with white privilege. I had white voice privilege. It sounds like equality, but it's really like being in a Filipino Beatles tribute. But there was a place for me to tell my stories. I knew it was on the news. It was in journalism, where you put on that full-body condom so you can see the truth but not get impregnated by it. See, journalism. Yeah, and it worked for me at local TV, at NPR, All Things Considered, the host, Weekend LT, Things Considered. I was on the newspaper, but I found my voice in the ethnic media as a columnist, Emil and where just by telling our stories, we fought invisibility. And that's been the story of my life. And then one day, I got a call from my sister about my cousin. And now that's become the story of my life. Stephen Guillermo was a lot like you, 26, his life ahead of him, and truth be told, he was a lot more handsomer than me. But he had this smile, this big smile. He's like a Hello Kitty character. You know, there's no smile by a Hello Kitty character. He just glows with goodness and innocence. He was gunned down and murdered in a San Francisco apartment building. They arrested a man who claimed self-defense, and they booked him on suspicion of murder, but they would probably let him go. This is my Trayvon Martin story. Asian American lives matter. Stephen's life matters. But I couldn't cover it, not as a journalist. I was too close. So I had to take off the full-body condom and take the risk to fight for justice for my family. I went to the Board of Supervisors, and then I went to the Police Commission. I demanded that they hold the shooter accountable for his actions. And then I went to my default attorney, the DA, and I said, you've got the murderer, now do your job. Prosecute. We were on all the local news shows, and even the New York Times had a gun blog and mentioned Stephen's story. But the big time would be national TV. And our best hope, Inside Edition. I know, but they called me. What am I going to do? I gave them everything I had. Stephen was graduating from San Francisco State. He was celebrating that impending joyous occasion, and he was drunk. That's no crime. We all know that. He lived on the 5th floor, went to his apartment, took the elevator, but got off on the 3rd. When you're drunk, everything starts looking the same. I looked for eyewitnesses. There were no eyewitnesses. There were ear witnesses. People heard footsteps. And they didn't hear any threat. They didn't hear any arguing. They didn't hear anyone trying to beat down the door. What they did hear was the single gunshot at 1:30 in the morning. And I figured this is what happened. Stephen was let into the apartment because on the other side was a 68-year-old retired security guard with a gun. Stephen was half his size, unarmed. But the gunman knew the laws, the castle doctrine, self-defense laws based on the castle doctrine. It said your home is your castle. Even if your home is a lousy urban tenement apartment, you have the right to shoot to kill anyone who doesn't belong. And Stephen did not belong. We didn't belong. It would have been a great story on Inside Edition, and there I was waiting for the cameras to roll. We were waiting for Stephen's siblings to show up. they didn't show up. At the last minute, some other relatives told him it was better to be quiet, better to play the game and not make any noise, not to rock the boat. So there was no story. Stephen's shooter was let go. I went to the DA, I said, not even a lousy manslaughter charge? And the DA said, Emil, your cousin is just one person. He's not just one person. He's the second coming of my father who faced discrimination in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. Stephen was the next generation of Filipinos, the next generation of Guillermos to come to America. And he was recycling history. The same lousy jobs, the same lousy apartment, the same lousy outcomes, made invisible by a bullet. So I figured we weren't going to get our day in court, but we got our day at the ballpark. It was Filipino-American Heritage Night at the Giants, and the Giants were playing the Braves, and the best Filipino player ever in the major leagues, Tim Lincecum, had a 1-0 lead going into the bottom of the third. And there it was, up on the scoreboard, bigger than life. It was Stephen with his Giants eye black, his Giants jersey, the big smile. Bigger than life, his baseball epitaph. Stephen Guillermo, 1987 to 2014, American Filipino, Giants fan, taken too soon. It was the score. It was the story. The game's not over yet. The case grows cold and society colder. But for now, Jumbotron justice